Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. In this episode, we're going to meet Elizabeth, so I'll be discussing the gameplay mechanics involving her. This is Battleship Bay. It's really more of a plot level. There's not a lot of combat. There is a big sequence at the end, however, and I will showcase that. I will find a new weapon, but I will not find any new vigors. I think that's it. Here we go.
Anna.
No, it's me, Elizabeth. Are you all right?
Where am I?
Back in the land of the living. Here, let me.
I'll be fine.
You almost drowned. You need to...
I said I'm fine. Just give me a minute.
Do you hear that? It's music.
You go on. I just need to...
Okay, I won't be long. I won't be long, Mr. DeWitt.
We have officially met Elizabeth.
I found these silver eagles. There's a vending device over there. There might be something to bring you back to health.
It's probably a good idea.
I skipped over the chapter where we were introduced to her with the goal of spoiling things as little as possible for you guys. But not only is Elizabeth a key character in the story, but she is also a core mechanic to the game. She essentially replaces the spare medkits and Eve hypos from the previous game. She will scavenge, and if you're nearly dead or you're nearly out of salts in combat, she will toss a medkit or a bottle of salts to you to help you out to get through the fight. She'll also, when you're out of combat, from time to time find money and give you some extra cash, and she'll even give you ammunition or even weapons in the game. Okay, moving on, I'm going to find another piece of gear here. A coat of harms. Enemies become easier to melee execute. I did use that gear in my first run of the game where I was a melee booker, and I didn't really notice a significant difference when having that gear equipped, but I'd have to test it a lot more to really make a call on it one way or the other. I'd also like to take a moment here to point out that depending on your decisions in the game, there could be another gear here. You make a choice early on in the game, and there could be another piece of gear here depending on what you choose, and I don't know if it replaces this piece or what. I'd have to play through the game a third time to confirm that one way or the other. I'd also like to point out that I had to stop playing here to do something in real life, and I had to start at a checkpoint before I had found this gear, and it's actually random, at least this piece. Other pieces between my first playthrough and this one were the same up until this point. This one seems to be random, and if you'd like, you can restart the checkpoint repeatedly until you get a gear that you want, but I'm not going to do that. I wound up getting that throttle control gear after having to restart from the checkpoint, and it just lets you move faster or slower when on the skyline. Faster, I don't really see a lot of point to. You can already move plenty fast without it, and generally speaking, if anything, you're going to want to slow down on the skyline in order to line up a shot easier, especially when you're using that gear coupled with something like, I think it's called Eagle Strike, I could be wrong, which lets you just do more damage when you're on a skyline. So what I could see you potentially doing is getting on a skyline, slowing down to a crawl with this gear, and then just shooting enemies and doing 50% bonus damage with that Eagle Strike gear. Again, I'm not totally sure if that's what it's called. I think it's a pair of boots, maybe? I don't remember. I would also like to point out the colored and Irish washroom. It's a dark reminder of our past. I dearly hope it never again becomes our present.
Come and take a photograph with the father of our country. He chopped down the cherry tree. He crossed the Delaware. On bended knee, he accepted the sword from the Angel Columbia. Come on, folks. Show your allegiance to flag and to the nation.
Okay, enough seriousness. Do any of you guys know who this fine gentleman is? And no, I am not referring to George Washington in the background. I am referring to the Barker. You may recognize his voice. He voiced Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop, the anime. He voiced the lead character in Bulletstorm, and he was various voices in Mass Effect 2 and 3. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. This man has a huge number of credits. His name is Steve Blum, and I am a fan. Just had to point that out.
To the sky Comstock bent his knee, and saw with holy prophecy an Eden floating in the mist, by man forsworn, by heaven kissed.
Let's get to some action.
Sauerkraut? Sauerkraut? I guess so.
I'll take, one.
Hey.
How much?
Hey.
Sure. We can get both apples with a
Excuse me.
stick.
Hey, buddy. 2 tickets for passage to the First Lady airship.
Yeah, just a minute, friend. Yeah, I have it. How do you, want to proceed?
In a bit of a rush, pal.
Hey, mister, you're gonna get mustard all over your nice suit.
I got it. I'll ring you back once the matter's in hand.
I don't like this.
Yeah, send in the bird. We're ready to execute.
Excuse me, can I get some help here?
Certainly, sir. Sorry about the wait!
What are you doing? Get the girl! Get off of me!
For this fight, what I found to work the best is to immediately go over to this side of the room and take cover behind this counter. And this gives you a lot of cover if you just crouch down. They can attack you from behind, which I didn't realize. This guy, I was amazed he somehow had the awesome capability of hopping over the counter and attacking me from behind with the shotgun, but it was okay. I turned around quick enough to finish him off, and the other ones just kind of run into your line of sight and expose themselves, and they're pretty easy to deal with. After that, once Elizabeth is out of the room, you should place traps, and it doesn't really matter necessarily what vigor you're using. It doesn't have to be the Devil's Kiss vigor that I'm using here, but place some sort of traps in both of the room's entrances at those gates, stairs, and that will make it a lot easier to deal with the enemies that are going to come pouring in, and there are a good number of them. I also recommend just staying where you were, staying over by this counter, and just picking them off as you see them. But all in all, this went pretty well. There could be a better way of doing it, but this seemed to work just fine. And that's that. I'm going to now heal up, because I did take quite a bit of damage. That was just one shotgun blast at close range. It took out all of my shields, and it brought me down to half health. Just one shot. So you can die really quick in 1999 mode. As you can see here, I now have access to shotguns. I will use them a little bit, but I might wind up dumping the shotgun pretty quick, simply because it does require you to be so close to enemies. And it really plays very similarly to a straight melee build, which, as I've mentioned, was how I went through the game the first time. And just to keep things interesting for myself, I prefer to play a more divergent play style. It is a really effective weapon, though. It is very useful for dealing with large clusters of enemies at close range because it does have a large conical spread. Normally, I skip the voxophones, but just bear with me for a moment.
This is the moment we trained for. The false shepherd is here. The day was not exact, but the prophet's sight proves out again. The specimen must be taken alive. If she dies, I suspect they will give us to the bird, and whatever pieces it leaves behind will bear no names. That was cigarette number 6. This waiting is insufferable.
I definitely wasn't expecting that, guy, so I figured I may as well just show it. So as I was saying, I will use the shotgun for a bit, but I probably won't be using it as a primary weapon. I might keep it in reserve at times to deal with large groups of, say, melee enemies, but other than that, I think I'll be using other things. I think I have better options. It's just dangerous to be so close to enemies in 1999 mode. Picked up another infusion there, again going for salts. That infusion was behind the counter you might have seen when that guy stabbed me in the hand. Behind the counter, so I just went around and picked it up. And this is really the end of Battleship Bay, guys. It was mostly plot again, so I skipped the vast majority of it. There was really just that one combat sequence. And this is why I mentioned in a previous episode, I think the last episode, I really wish there was more combat in this game, because it seems like there's just a little bit of combat, and then a fairly long intermission of plot, and then you go back to combat again. Things will get more action-packed as I progress through the game, but for now, another mostly plot level. Thanks guys for watching. Stay tuned for more. Please like the video if you liked it. Please sub if you'd like to see more. Leave comments, feedback, ask questions, and I'll get back to you. This video is part of a playlist, so please check out the earlier episodes in the series. Please check out my channel. I have played lots of games. I have made lots of videos. So if you're interested in more of my stuff, you can find a link to my channel in the description. And, oh, before I forget, Happy Easter! I hope you guys have a good one.